following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Blowing out of the backfield, exploding down the sideline.
This is Hangin' with the Boys, presented by Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings. Now, your hosts, Nate Newton, Kurt Daniels, Jesse Holley, and Shannon Gross.
Welcome to the show. Thank you, Wingstop. Thank you, SWBC Mortgage, for bringing you the
Let's
living room.
go.
Welcome to Hanging with the Boys, Thursday edition. Shannon Gross, Nate Newton, Jesse Holley, Kurt Daniels, and I have two questions for you guys to start off the show. Okay? One is football related, one is non-football related. The non-football related question is, I have a protein drink that I'm drinking, but because I have a beard and a mustache, I can't drink it out of the glass. So I'm having to drink it out of a straw. So we have two very manly men that just secrete testosterone and virility, and then we have Kurt. So I want to ask all three of y'all.
I'm not the one drinking out of a straw with his protein.
Is it okay for a man to drink out of a straw?
Do you drink beer out of a straw with a frosted mug with a head sitting on the beer? Do you drink that out of a straw?
No. Jesse, is it okay to drink out of a straw?
Not at home.
Not at home. Okay. Kurt.
No, you never worry about that, do you? I mean, just like Nate said, when you're down in a frothy beer, you're not worried about getting in your beard.
All right. Well, you know what? The straw is gone. The straw is gone. So it's y'all's fault if I look.
Any man who used duct tape to put up a poster, it got to be tougher than that, huh?
All right. Next question. That is football related, and this is a legit question. I've thought about this a lot. Okay. The Bengals are 2-9-1. Is this a trap game for the Dallas Cowboys? Go.
Oh my God!
Oh, shut up! That's what I hear.
Fair question, right? Fair question.
No, that is a good question. That's not a good question at all.
Not a good question.
Shut up, man. Keep the straw back in your mouth, bro.
All right, so two really bad teams. How do you get yourself up for a game like this if you're a player? Other than just pride? Is it just pride? Is it just not wanting to put out bad tape? Like, how do you get up for a game like this?
If I'm the Dallas Cowboy defense, and I know that everywhere I go is maybe a guillotine about to fall on my neck, this is a game where I get some stats. This is a game where I show the other 31 other teams that I can play.
Oh, boy.
Man, I don't know.
What's wrong, Jesse?
Is this a trap game for the Cowboys?
But I guess players get excited because they might actually get a win, huh? Or do they just like, man, this game's a joke? Who cares?
No, they're looking at the game saying like we might not get a win if we keep playing the way that we've been playing. I think here's how, as a player, I'm thinking like this. Every game that we lose, especially if I'm a defensive player, every game that we lose brings them closer and closer to a higher draft pick that we're probably going to use on defense. And every player that they draft higher than what I was drafted means the numbers are getting very crowded. And I can be on the way out. Now, some people may say, hell, I want to be on the way out from this team. There's a lot who are not saying that. So every time, the name Patrick Surtain Jr. comes up, if I'm Jordan Lewis, Anthony Brown, Cheeto, all those guys, I'm saying, man, go linebacker. Man, go deep. Because as the numbers grow, so does the opportunity for your job to be taken. So I have to go out there and play to a level that they say we're gonna find a spot for him on our football team next year. Not we can't wait to find a guy to replace him. So to me, that's how I would approach this game, as I gotta keep going out there putting up great film so that they want to keep me, and that they go to a different position with those high draft picks so that I'm able to keep a job.
I've always felt, man, as a free agent, man, like I said, I was like probably 7 or 8 years in before I even felt comfortable. Because every year the Dallas media would go on an attack. What are you going to do with the fat guy at left guard? What are you going to do? He's overweight every year. They didn't relish the fact that I was giving them stories every offseason or how fat I was going to get. They just wanted to get me out of here. Then all of a sudden, Sports Illustrated liked me, and all of a sudden they fell in love with me. But it's okay. But I would be scared to death.
Oh, we know that the defense has a lot of guys in that position where they're like playing for a spot, playing for next year. What about the offense? Any guys?
Let me say this here. Offensive line, especially that second team offensive line, they stock has went up.
Yep.
They stock has went up. It's going to be guys trying to deal for some of our backups. Trust me. A valued offensive lineman, however he can get his experience, other teams love that. Other teams like, thank you, Dallas. You just given us a chance to look at 5 new guys. And if they're not under contract, we are coming at them.
All right, Nate, that's a great point. If you are the Cowboys, you know you got Tyron that's going to be back. You know you got LC that's going to be back. You know you're going to have a healthy Zach. You hope. You hope these guys are healthy and coming back. Do you entertain people wanting to grab your Joe Looney's and your other guys, or do you keep them?
No, sir. You keep them. You keep your offensive line. You keep your
them
defensive
until
line.
you have to.
Thank you.
You keep them till you have to cut them.
That's right.
You're
right.
like that is offensive linemen are one of those positions where I'm hoarding all of these guys until I can't. Because the off season is long, and you got guys. You got Tyron Smith. God bless Tyron Smith. He'll probably be a future Hall of Famer, but he is long in the tooth and has become very injury prone the last couple years. A long off season. We're anticipating getting back to some sort of normalcy with, OTAs and mini camps and training camps and preseason games. You don't want to start dealing offensive linemen and then you lose an offensive lineman. Now you're back scrapping trying to find offensive linemen. So you hoard offensive linemen. You hoard them big boys. You wrap your arms around them big musty jokers.
Everybody
hold on to them.
Everybody has a price. Every position has a price. What's the price to let them go? Is it a third rounder? Second rounder?
Nothing.
First rounder?
Look at here, man. Nothing.
Whoa.
You have
To let who go? You said first rounder. Who you letting go? Who you letting go?
Who you letting go? For a first rounder, who you letting go?
Well, what if you got guys that are annually injured now? I mean, they're breaking down. Maybe now's the time to sell?
Sell? You're talking about the guys who've broken down.
Yeah.
You can't even afford to sell them.
Can you?
You got to, at this point, Kurt, Jesse, Shannon, at this point, you owe it to yourself, to your quarterback, and to your team to go into next year trying to be the best you can be. You have no more room for all what the Cowboys have tried for the last 11 years. You have to do everything correctly and on time. That means that your offense is set. You don't go giving away those pieces unless somebody want to overbuy. And ain't nobody overbuying these days, not knowing what the salary cap is going to be. So you keep what you got offensively, and you go do everything you can to improve your defense so it can at least be above average. And then you run with that next year with everything you got.
Because you know what's crazy? I think one of the storylines that was missed in this game the other day, I think the Cowboys had like 400 yards total offense.
388.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that storyline was missed. So the offense can, we missed 3 field goals. And so 3, 9, 7, that's 26.
Yeah.
You still would have lost the game, but productivity is kind of, Andy Dalton has kind of settled the ship a little bit. He's kind of, he's not a miracle worker. He's not Dak. He's not
settled
going to
what?
wow you.
What he settled?
Settled the ship.
Oh, with a P.
P with a P.
Okay.
So he fixed this, Rich. He settled the ship, and so now you have to look at it and saying, once we get back Dak and we get back these other offensive linemen, we should be okay. Dak was averaging 500 yards total offense earlier in the year, putting up 30 points a game. They're averaging about 15, 16 points a game now. If we can just stop somebody, a little bit, that's why I'm in total agreement with Nate, man. Every pick that you pick, unless something comes off the board that is Randy Moss-esque, is something that you like, man, we cannot turn our back on this offensive player. You got to go defense. And at every level, like literally you can't say, well, we don't know up front, in the middle, and in the back and on the outside. You need players all across the board defensively, and that's where your focus should be all offseason, all in the draft.
Your defense is chewy, gooey, and ooey. Believe that.
Hey, Nate, you talked me into it. You made a great point. You owe it. If you're going to go out and you're going to spend all this money on Dak and you're going to pay Dak,
Yes.
you owe it to Dak. You owe it to the franchise. You owe it to the offensive and defensive players to protect him at all costs. So you hoard your offensive linemen because this team, the last, 3 or 4 years, we've had a starter or two go down at some point during the season on that offensive line. You now have a solid backup at every position. I'm with you. You talked me into it. Unless someone wants to grossly overpay, give you a first rounder or something for a backup offensive lineman. I'm with you.
They ain't gonna hire in third. But
I'm not trading for a third. I'm with you.
But no, I'll say this. We it's a time to sacrifice, and and I'll repeat it. I've said we had 2 times during this year to sacrifice and get these young guys in there. We didn't do it. We got 4 more games, 5 more games, whatever. We need to see these young guys because for some reason I'm thinking y'all thinking the same as I'm thinking. Can these young guys do worse than what's happening now? I keep thinking about that. Okay, is this guy we got at stand-up outside linebacker defensive end out of Utah, is he that much worse than the guys we got in there? And if so, why did you draft him? We could have doubled that up and got a better player somewhere else. Think about it.
You got to ask that about Ane and Reggie Robinson. I mean, if they can't get on the field with as bad as this defense has been, with all the injuries, how bad must they be?
Yeah, they got to be bad, man.
Now, could a coach, and I'm just throwing out a hypothetical, could a coach say, you know what, I'm going to hold these guys back so when I go to the table this offseason and I'm talking to Steven and I'm talking to Jerry, I got all the evidence that I need to let this player go, that player go, that player go, and that player go. Instead of
okay, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because sometimes now I'm just playing. I'm just throwing out just some other things out there because you're like, you want to say because Mike McCarthy drafted these guys.
Yes.
Your Robinsons, your Anais, your Diggs, and all those kind of guys. So those guys are going to be here. That's their first class. That's their first wave of draftees. So sometimes you wanted to say, you know what? I can put my guy out there, and then they may still have an argument or a fight for these old guys who they may have liked. But if I don't put my guys out there and I continue to let them see how bad their guys actually are, then now when I come to the table, I can say, I have stone cold evidence of why I'm getting ready to cut this guy or let this guy go or do whatever it is that I have to do. because the proof is in the pudding. The film don't lie. The eye of the sky don't lie. This guy needs to go. And then next year I can usher in my guys, and maybe they not be involved in some of this nonsense that's on the field right now, but I got my guys fresh and ready to go for a robust and full offseason. I'm just throwing things out there.
You know, in the offseason, going to have to be so priority. You know, and I know I'm sounding insensitive, and I know I may get in trouble for this.
No.
But it ain't going to be no offseason for the Dallas Cowboys if I was the head coach. We're going to put on double masks. We're going to put on them shields, and we're going to work. Yeah. That would never happen. If I'm a Cowboy coach, general manager, that what we saw this past year would never happen to my team again. You can zoom all you want, but we going on that field. And if we have to just walk and stay 800 feet away from each other, this is ridiculous. Yeah. This is saddening.
Just as they're trying to figure out players and who might be back next year, is this a time where coaches would try to work on schemes? You know, they've talked about going from a 4-3 to a 3-4. Would they try to maybe work that more in to see if
that's out the window now, man? This coach, I think, is trying to simplify it as much as he can because it has looked at bad. Jesse may have a different opinion, but if I'm a coach right about now, I'm trying to say, fellas, we're gonna line you up, you know, and this is what we play. We're gonna have, and I hate to say we're going back to what was here last year. These are the 1 or 2 defenses. These are the 1 or 2 variations. You know what? And let's go out and win this game.
Yeah, I guess the reason I was wondering is like, okay, they've talked about playing a 3-4. Maybe that hasn't fit so well this year with some of the players they have. Maybe they need new players, but maybe they need to get the current guys used to that system. So is that something they would try to? Too late?
Just
well, I mean, it's not too late for next year, is it?
No, not for next year, but let's use Minnesota. Minnesota had 8 or 9 rookies, and they started 3 or 4 of them, or 4 or 5 of them on defense was getting at least 65% of the snaps. You do that early in the year so they can play through the ups and downs, the roller coasters. You got a choice now whether you just go and play young guys or you do like Jesse and say, I'm holding my young guys back. Let these older guys do what they're going to do. But you so far into the season now, you are what you are.
Yeah,
I mean, these guys, yeah.
I guess I was looking towards next year, you know. Are you trying to develop guys for next year's scheme? Does it do anything to work on that now?
You only can do that with your young guys and new guys. Like Jesse said, you know, he made sense. They finna get rid of a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
These bunch of guys will either get some heart and get some knowledge of understanding of who they are and what they are on this team and how they fill in. Because right about now, every week, what they're averaging 170 yards per week just versus the run. Quarterbacks ain't even throwing for 200 yards. It's not because they can't. It's just because they don't have to.
They don't have to, yeah.
All right, well, we have to take a break. That's one thing we have to do. When we come back, let's talk about Andy Dalton's mentality going back to playing against his former team for the first time. We have someone on the show that's played against a former team at one point. Maybe 2 people. I don't know. We'll have to ask and see if there's 2 on the show that have done that. And Kurt wants to talk about some things that Troy Aikman and DeMarcus Ware have said about this team. Find out what that is and so much more when we come back for the second segment of Hangin' with the Boys.
Is your family a Cowboys family? Have you taken holiday photos at the Star? Was your wedding theme blue and silver? Have you convinced your kids them is spelled with a D? If so, every game day feels like a vacation to you, so treat it like one. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com. Proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Just like all of you, we at Zeke can't wait until we're back in the stands at full strength cheering on the Cowboys and singing along to our favorite songs again. We're using this time to make discovering, buying, and selling tickets to events in Dallas easier. Plus, every ticket purchased on SeatGeek is protected by our buyer guarantee, which means you'll get your money back or better if your event is canceled. Guaranteed. Download the SeatGeek app today, and when the time is right, let's go. SeatGeek.
Grab some OtterBox gear and get ready for Hanging with the Boys. From rugged venture coolers to tough as nails elevation tumblers, we've got what you need to keep your game day drinks frosty and your football feast ice cold. And with cases, screen protectors, and power accessories, you can defend your phone and stay connected to every play. Gear up at OtterBox.com and amp up the fun of every Cowboys game. That's OtterBox.com.
Dear, it's 1908. Don't you think we should get electricity?
And stop using candles to see at night.
It's just electricity lights up the room fast. It's more reliable than candles blowing out, and people seem to love it nationwide.
Well, candles are...
Dear, did you just run into the wall?
Nope. May I have a new candle, please?
Historically, switching to new technology is a no-brainer. Today, it's AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure, and nationwide. Switch to AT&T 5G. It's not complicated. 5G requires compatible plan. May not be in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to Hanging with the Boys.
Welcome back to the show. Adjust your cleats, adjust your pads. Man, Kurt, I miss you reading this one. Even adjust your helmet, but seriously, don't adjust your underwear because once it's seen, it cannot be unseen. Tommy John's fabric keeps you cool and dry on the field or in the stands, and now they even have loungewear. Yes, sir, loungewear. Shop underwear at TommyJohn.com/Cowboys for 15% off your first order. TommyJohn.com/Cowboys. All right, before we get into what
I want to be a Cowboy,
Troy Aikman and DeMarcus Ware had to say, which Kurt will quote them, or at least one of them. Let's talk about Andy Dalton going back to Cincinnati for the first time ever to play against his former teammate or his former team and teammates. Nate, you did that whenever you originally played for that team in Washington. Jesse, did you ever play?
Though, Shannon.
Just preseason? Okay. Jesse,
Just
did you
preseason.
ever?
I'm glad they cut me.
Jesse, did you ever play against a former team?
Yeah, it was preseason as well. When the Cowboys played the Bengals in the Hall of Fame game. The Hall of Fame game.
Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit, even though it was preseason, you still probably want to stick it to your old team. Talk a little bit about, does there any jabbing going on behind the scenes between, text messages with former teammates, any fun being had, or is it all business and just really wanting to show out in front of your former employer?
Well, I don't know if Nate and them had phones back when he was playing. I don't know if they were doing too much text messaging with one another.
They had the brick, the Zach Morris phone.
Not that, y'all.
Yeah, exactly. But I did. To me, especially for preseason, there's a little bit jawing, going back and forth, and then before the game, you're kind of saying your little pleasantries and so on and so forth. But I didn't want to stick it to the players. I wanted to stick it to the coaches. I wanted to show a couple coaches over there that, you guys made the wrong decision. And it was one coach in particular, Darren Simmons, who was the special teams coach, who actually still to this day, if I happen to run into Darren, like Darren has to be super nice or I might punch Darren in the face.
Wow.
He was that insulting and that mean to me, and I know that sounds childish, but he was that mean to me my rookie year in Cincinnati, and he said some things to me that I wouldn't let slide today, that I kind of had to eat a little bit because of my position and where I was at that particular time. In fact, I knew I wouldn't let slide today, I'm a man, you're a man, and there's certain things.
He wouldn't even try you like that, Jeff.
Yeah. So
he knew he had a superior position, so that's why he tried you. Yeah,
that was my biggest thing with playing against them.
What did you see from teammates? Because regularly you probably had teammates that faced old teams and such. Did those guys typically play better? Do they get hyped up, or was there some nerves involved? Maybe not so great.
Nah, I think guys got hyped up, but unless you're a high-profile player, and specifically quarterback, or it's been some sort of controversy that happened, maybe you kind of felt like you were treated unfairly or released unfairly, then you're trying to get back. But for the most part, it's a normal day at the office. It's let's go play football. Yeah, I want to have a good game, but it's not anything that's over. Unless you're a superstar type player.
For me, the way I exited was kind of ugly, and then all my guys that I hung out with were on defense. Darryl Green, who was drafted in the first round, Charles Mann, who I think was a 4th round pick, and me and him was roommates, and Monty Coleman and all those guys, Rick Walker, the tight end. I was close to these guys. And the offensive lineman treated me, man. I was supposed to make that team, but I was so immature at the time. They had no other choice but to get rid of me. Like I said, I exited off of a very major. I had a wreck, got flipped, thrown out of a car. So I was remembered. And so guys, when I got ready to play them the first time, they remembered me, man. Hey, Big Noonie, you doing all right? You all right? I was like, yeah, you finna find out, homie. You finna find out. So, yeah, so... Charlie Cashley is the guy who brought me in there, and I'm good with those guys still to this day, man. I talk to them periodically, man. If we didn't have the little phones, we had the big, walkie-talkie like phones back then.
So, do you think Dalton's going to have an advantage in coming back?
No
advantage.
That's just my opinion. Jesse may have a nut because this is a totally different team that he's facing. A lot of the players are different. These guys here, this offensive line hasn't faced this team, even though they have what you call outstanding, dominating players who can just take over a game. He should be able to deal with these guys, and they got a good secondary, a decent secondary, but he should be able to deal on these guys pretty good with our receivers. And if we just have any type running game, we should be able to deal pretty evenly with this defense.
Hope so.
Right. Oh man, you said that with no confidence, Kurt.
Well, I mean, they haven't. I agree. I think
how about you? Wow.
Like you said, the Bengals have a pretty solid secondary, especially that safety. Right. Was it Bates? Is that his name?
Bates, yeah, Bates. Yeah, good guy. 3 picks.
I guess I was hoping Dalton might have a little bit more of an advantage if he's maybe faced those guys day in and day out in practice last year.
Different, I think, it's different defensive coordinator, different head coach. Just they're all in their second year. They've all improved. Like I said, a lot of teams, when they get a new head coach, there are a lot of head coaches to bring in their guys. And I guess Jesse say they homeboys, and he brought in some good homeboys, and they seem to be improving. And they 2 wide receivers. It ain't Green. It's Higgins, the second. The Higgins, the rookie, and the other guy. Woof. Don't let them get a step. You'll give up the ghost real quick on them guys. They are nice. And then that running back number 25, Bernard, he maybe ain't much as he must be ain't much as a guy running out of the backfield. But you let him run the little swing passes and all of that, he will crush you.
Mm-hmm. It's not good.
Decent tight end, not nothing special, but he's a decent tight end. The Cowboys will have to work and play perfect. My thing for the Cowboys this week, and I said on an earlier show, is somehow, some way they got to protect the middle of the field. Whether they put a guy on the nose and 2 guys on and cover both guards and work from a bear-like look, or they use 2 always inside linebackers, deep safety. But the Cowboys, run-wise and pass-wise, have not been able to protect the middle of their field. And so a lot of people say that's because everybody's formationing them out. Sometimes you got to dictate what's happening. And I'm not saying this kid can't throw, the backup quarterback. But Lord, geez, man, just don't let a guy that's a great all-around running back come in here and set national records on us.
How does a defense dictate what there's going on if they are trying to scheme you wide or whatever formation?
Just time, discipline. I know, just discipline, being in the right place. Like Jesse said yesterday, and I'm taking up for Van Der Esch, I am, but you were supposed to be in the play side A gap. In the center, you're supposed to be right to the left, to the right of the center, and you're supposed to have stayed there. because you had the quarterback. You went to your right, to your right, 6 inches, and it cost you a 37-yard TD. You got to be disciplined. You got to stay home. You got to say, Jalen, that's your guy. That's your guy out there on the wide, because Jalen was standing out there for the running back. That was your guy. So, you cannot continue to, hey, my bad. But at least Jalen was man enough to admit his bad and not say we. We got to do better. Like he's speaking French or something, So I'm happy for that. But at some point, you do have to play football.
We're going to stay disciplined as well, and we're going to stay on time so Chris can start the next show, even though the next show, sometimes they don't show up till like 5 or 10 minutes after the show starts. But we'll still respect them. We'll still respect their time and take our breaks on time. 2 things we're going to talk about when we come back. One is going to be the quotes from Troy Aikman and DeMarcus Ware. Kurt, you can enlighten us on that. The second one is we're going to ask Nate. Jesse, we will let you ask this question to Nate, because Zeke is battling a calf injury and his status for Sunday is up in the air.
Get the hot towels ready, baby.
Could this be a blessing in disguise to where Nate can save face? We can see more Tony Pollard.
8 yards last week.
And see what happens. All right, we'll get into that when we come back. Last segment.
Zeke is a freak, baby. Zeke is a freak.
Just like all of you, we at Zeke can't wait until we're back in the stands at full strength cheering on the Cowboys and singing along to our favorite songs again. We're using this time to make discovering, buying, and selling tickets to events in Dallas easier. Plus, every ticket purchased on SeatGeek is protected by our buyer guarantee, which means you'll get your money back or better if your event is canceled. Guaranteed. Download the SeatGeek app today, and when the time is right, let's go. SeatGeek.
It's game day. You know what that means. First, kebab prep. Steak, pepper, onion, steak, pepper, onion. Next, a counterclockwise lap around the room. Now the lucky grease-stained jersey goes on. And lastly, the dance. You know the one. This is a game day ritual no matter where you are. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com and keep the tradition alive and well. Hotels.com. Proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Grab some OtterBox gear and get ready for Hanging with the Boys. From rugged venture coolers to tough as nails elevation tumblers, we've got what you need to keep your game day drinks frosty and your football feast ice cold. And with cases, screen protectors, and power accessories, you can defend your phone and stay connected to every play. Gear up at OtterBox.com and amp up the fun of every Cowboys game. That's OtterBox.com.
Dear, it's 1908. Don't you think we should get electricity?
And stop using candles to see at night.
It's just electricity lights up the room fast. It's more reliable than candles blowing out, and people seem to love it nationwide.
Well, candles are...
Dear, did you just run into the wall?
Nope. May I have a new candle, please?
Historically, switching to new technology is a no-brainer. Today, it's AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure, and nationwide. Switch to AT&T 5G. It's not complicated. 5G requires compatible plan. May not be in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to Hanging with the Boys.
Hey, are you craving AT&T Stadium's famous Cowboys cheesesteak nachos or Cowboy Rita when you're watching the Cowboys game at home? Bring your favorite stadium fare to you. Place your order online for pickup at AT&T Stadium every week this season. Check out the menu at attstadium.com/at-home. Man, you can pick up a Cowboy Rita. That's let's go. Let's go. All right, Kurt. Before we get into this last bit of, before we let Nate save face and we let Jesse let him off.
No, I'll save face, dog. I'm good.
No. You just wait. Kurt's got something to say, and then we're gonna deal with you, Kurt.
Where are we playing this game at this week before we start? Where are we playing this game before we start? So I won't mess that up. That's the only face I got to save is make sure I know where we playing at.
We're on the road again this week, Nate. We're in Cincy.
Okay, on the road again.
Yeah. Back. We're up in Ohio.
Jesse's old stomping grounds. His old hangout.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, Kurt.
Hey.
DeMarcus Ware and Troy Aikman
had
some stuff to say about this team this week. Enlighten us. What did they have to say, and what is your question?
Well, I think they're it's pretty well known by now. Aikman said on the broadcast that there's just so many things that have to be addressed this offseason. He doesn't even know where the Cowboys are going to go. And then I think Ware said on Jim Rome's show that let me find it. He just questions the team's want to, I guess you could say. It's that mentality of let's own the trenches, let's make the big plays on defense and score touchdowns on offense. Where is that mentality at? How do current players see that when past stars kind of call them out? Does it hit home, or do they don't care at all what the outside world's saying, no matter who's saying it?
In today's society, what I've found out is who's willing to have the biggest Twitter voice. And if you got a big Twitter voice, you can deflect some of that. But in the real world, where it counts with Mr. Jones and guys like that who are making some decisions, they won't hesitate to say, well, what do you mean, Troy? Or what do you mean, D-Ware? Now, they're not going to always do that. But I've been known for some of these people to say, you kind of came at us. Why? What did you see? And so they may have a little input where it counts the most. Not in the Twitter world, but upstairs. Just a little bit. Not a lot now. Just a little bit.
Nate, are you saying they would reach out to those guys, like call them, or they would say that in the media?
I've known for the higher-ups to ask opinions of things, whether they value it or not. I've known that some of the higher-up guys have asked opinion of some of these guys. Troy, we got to remember, it's a GM sitting right and with the 49ers who was just broadcasting 4 years ago. And this is happened a lot of times. I know with the Redskins, a lot of guys that were broadcasters are guys that were doing other things are in higher positions. Guys respect guys. I can't think of the guy that helped Alden Smith get here. He has a lot of Jay Blaze. Great guy. Everybody who is somebody knows this guy and respect his opinion. So when they say something, sometimes, not all the time, very little times, they will, hey, man, what did you mean by that? What are you seeing? Sometimes people do go outside of their organizations to get opinions and to listen to others and what they're saying. Sometimes, not all the time. I don't want to try to overblow it like, oh, Nate know what he's talking about. Yeah, I know in certain cases they will.
Yeah, I didn't know if just your average player on the team would, really care what a DeMarcus Ware says, or they just get annoyed by it all.
The level of sensitivity that we have in today's game with these players, anything that is not a praise, is not something that's they deem positive, most, not all, most are going to call you a hater.
Yes.
Most are going to say DeMarcus Ware is blankety blank 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 blank. Or, he had to say that on there, he could have called me. Or he could have da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's so funny because a lot of these guys who knock what we do, knock what Troy does, and other people who work in the media, they eventually try to get on this side of the table. But when you're in it, you sometimes, what do they say, see the forest amongst the trees, or however that saying goes?
You can't see the trees for the forest.
For the forest. Because you're into it. And so anything that's said to you or about you that's negative, you deem it as hate, instead of saying, is there any validity that future Hall of Famer DeMarcus Ware says this about me and my defense? Is there any validity in 3-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback Troy Aikman says about my play? Instead of saying, he a hater, he washed, he this, he that. See, there's no level of really taking ownership of, are what these guys saying? Because I would say that Troy has a good eye for what he's looking at on the football field. Wouldn't you say that? I would say that DeMarcus Ware has a good eye for what he's seeing on the football field. And instead of saying, let me take a deeper dive into what they're actually saying, instead of getting in my feelings and being emotional and feeling like now I have to defend myself, instead of saying, you know what? Maybe he is on to something. Maybe we aren't what he says. Maybe we are what he says we are. And now I need to find out how can we rectify that and get better at it. But again, that's coming from someone who's a little bit older, whose skin is a little bit tougher. A lot of these guys nowadays, I mean, these guys get offended if you unfollow them. Like, you unfollowed me? Like, wait, what? You were mad about some fictitious follow when, like, I talked to you in real life? Well, why aren't you following me when I talk to you in real life? Like, this is the kind of mentality that we deal with in today's athletes. So, yeah, of course they take offense to it because the sensitivity level is at an all-time high.
Wow.
All right, go ahead, Nate.
No. I like you, Shannon. You've been bringing it today, man. Coming in and out of breaks. Handle your business.
Okay, well, here we go. Kurt, Jesse, either one of y'all can take this because I know we all want to let Nate off the hook on this, and he's been holding
you ain't gotta let me off no hook
all season. There's a chance that Zeke might not play. Go ahead, one of y'all let him off the hook because Tony Pollard could be starting, and it. You know what? I will tell you this.
It'll be the perfect game for Tony Pollard to start. It'll be the perfect game here for Tony Pollard to start. You're facing your same team. They just ain't giving up historical numbers, rushing. But you facing, they 2-9, we 3 and whatever. Come on, man, this is perfect time. He ain't like he's going to take a beating. They ain't like he finna get beat up. I mean, it's time to make a move. Now's the time. He could do like they did for the Yankees. We see this dude and never see Zeke again. Come on, man.
Wally Pippen.
Wow.
Yeah, Wally Pippen if you can. If you can. I'm with you. Jesse. Kurt.
You see how Nate is hedging his bet? You see how he comes out and he wants
100%.
I'm not hedging my bet.
Oh my
I'm
God.
giving you facts. Now you getting sensitive. Now I guess I'm going to get on Twitter and be a hater.
I'll tell you this.
You a wash, dog.
I tell you this. I love Zeke. I also want to see what Tony Pollard can do. I've been saying this since his rookie year. The one issue I have had with Pollard that I've been hesitant to say give him a start is trusting him in the return game, trusting him in the blitz pickup, trusting him in the blocking.
He can pick up blitzes. His game is raised tremendously.
The last 2 or 3 games, all of those concerns have been wiped out. He's turned into a hell of a special teams guy. He has been picking up the blitz. He's been blocking. Like all of those concerns that I had, I would like to see him at some point before the end of the season. Even if Zeke is your guy going into next year, let me see what this guy
Zeke is our guy going into next year.
Okay.
Zeke is our guy going into next year.
Well, let me see Tony Pollard one
Zeke
game.
is the guy going into next year.
I just want to see him, Nate. Okay.
I want to see the great Tony Pollard. I want to see him choke the ball 25 times. I want to see if he can take the pounding back to back to back. I want to see it.
Oh, okay. All right. Jesse, what do you think?
Jesse's he's a wash, man. Don't even worry about it.
He's been quiet. He's been so quiet the last segment.
I like that red shirt he got on, though. He got a nice red shirt on. Yeah.
It's not $9. Bought it at Target.
Kurt, what do you
Chris Beam is finna get Wally pipped. He working with the guy right now who's gonna pip him.
Uh-oh.
No.
He's showing him the wrong buttons to press.
Kurt,
show him
what you want to see,
enough.
Kurt? TP start?
I mean, I'd like to just see, like Nate was saying, you've seen running backs in the past that have looked really good for a handful of snaps, but then you give them, the bulk of the load, and they don't quite stand up to the pounding. So it'd be nice to not that I want to see Zeke hurt, or Zeke I think will be obviously back next year, but it would be nice to see what Pollard can do as the number one guy.
It ain't no guarantee Zeke gonna be back next year. It ain't a lot of these guys. It ain't no guarantee. I mean, Jesse, you may have a different view, man. I would like to hear, but this team has not shown what it was supposed to be due to the injury to Dak. But you got to see a lot of other guys come to the forefront and not perform the way they were supposed to this year. I mean, when you're a great player, you're supposed to open your mouth wide and eat everything in front of you. You're supposed to be the man.
What?
And Zeke did not do that this year. He did.
Open your mouth wide, Nate. Sometimes, man, I don't.
Brother, sometimes you don't understand what I'm saying. You gotta be a bulldog, bark loud, and eat everything in front of you. Yes,
hey,
eat
Jesse,
everything in front of you. Eat it up, my brother. I know sometimes my logic don't fit with yours, Jesse, but you from North Carolina.
I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah,
I'm from
you from
Jersey.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. You played to whatever's beneficial at the time.
No. I went to school in North Carolina. I'm from Jersey.
Hey, Jesse, just like Nate, I would love to hear your opinion on that and know what you have to say, but we can't because we're out of time. So thank y'all. Nate, thank you. Jesse, thank you. Kurt,
that's Zeke.
You.
Remember, open your mouth and eat wide.
Jesse, we'll get your opinion tomorrow. Chris, you're welcome for staying on schedule somewhat. We'll be back tomorrow. We will actually talk about the game, the Bengals and the Cowboys. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Show the guys the wrong buttons to push,
time,
Chris Bean.
Same place on Hangin'
Way to go, bro.
with the boys. See you tomorrow. Peace.
Jesse got big muscles.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!